Hi everyone. The first ebook from 5-Minute Biographies is now available. It's called The First 10 Presidents and is a collection of 5-minute biographies about the first 10 presidents of the United States of America. You can buy it now for Kindle on Amazon, or, if you'd like to get hold of a copy for free, head on over to the website for details.
Welcome to the 5-Minute Biographies podcast, where every week we tell you interesting things about interesting people in about 5 minutes. And now here is your host, Wayne Armstrong.
Hi, I'm Wayne Armstrong. Welcome to the 5-Minute Biographies podcast, Season 2, Episode 10, Vincent van Gogh. Vincent Willem van Gogh was a 19th century Dutch post-impressionist painter known for his influences on the history of Western art. He was born on the 30th of March 1853 in the southern Netherlands. His father was a Dutch Reformed church minister. As a child in an upper middle-class family, Van Gogh enjoyed drawing and was quite thoughtful and serious. His mother was an artist who had a love of nature, drawing and watercolours, which Vincent picked up, being taught at home. In 1864 he was sent to boarding school, but it was there he felt abandoned and pleaded to come home. When Vincent was 15 years old, his family was financially unstable and he had to go to work, leaving school. Fortunately, he was hired as an art dealer by his uncle. He enjoyed this work, and since he fluently spoke German, English and French as well as Dutch, he travelled frequently. It was also quite lucrative work, and at the age of 20 he was earning more than his father. In 1873 Van Gogh transferred to work at an art gallery in London. When in London he developed a passion for English culture and literature and frequented the art galleries. He fell in love with the daughter of his landlady, but it was not meant to be, and following the rejection of his marriage proposal, Van Gogh had a mental breakdown. Because of this, he isolated himself more and became religiously zealous. Apart from the Bible, he threw away all other books, dedicating his life to God. He started to teach at a Methodist boys' school, as well as preaching at the church. Even though his family was religious, it was only now that he was seriously considering doing church work. He took an entrance exam to the School of Theology in Amsterdam, but unfortunately he did not pass. Some have described Van Gogh as pious and monastic, rarely eating and always avoiding meat. In 1877 his family sent him to live with their uncle, Johannes Stricker, who was a respected theologian, supporting Vincent's interest in being a pastor. After this he volunteered to live in a coal mine, where pastors were typically sent to be punished. He took care of the sick, as well as drew pictures of the miners and their families. Because of this, he earned the title Christ of the Coal Mines. Unfortunately, the church committee were not happy with this, as Van Gogh's lifestyle appeared to be not in line with how the church believed a minister should behave. Throughout this time, even since childhood, Van Gogh had been consistently creating artwork, although he wasn't taking this work seriously. However, in 1880 he moved to Brussels to take art lessons, which his brother helped to sponsor financially. Vincent had many difficulties with relationships, particularly with women. He constantly thought that he could help women who were in trouble. For example, when his cousin Kate was widowed, Van Gogh fell in love with her. She was disgusted by this and hurried home to Amsterdam. After this, there was another woman named Sena Maria Hornick, with whom he fell in love, even though she was an alcoholic prostitute. During this time, she was his friend, artistic model, and mistress. His family threatened to remove his funding unless he left her. She returned to prostitution, leaving Van Gogh extremely depressed, and for a month and a half he lived as a nomad in the Netherlands, making art of the landscape and people. Fortunately, art was good for Van Gogh's soul. In 1885 he started to create his first masterpiece, known as Potato Eaters. He went to visit his brother in Paris and was inspired by Impressionist art for the first time. Over time, painting became an obsession, and his health rapidly deteriorated, as he was living on a meagre diet of bread, absinthe, and coffee. In addition to this minimal diet, his psychological health began to deteriorate as well, as he would occasionally drink turpentine and eat paint. His brother was very worried about him, and hired somebody to watch out for him. He had good reason to be concerned. One night Van Gogh cut off his ear, and then proceeded to the brothel, offering his ear to the prostitute, saying for her to keep the object carefully. He was hospitalized, but recovered within a couple of weeks. After this time he continued to be depressed and alone, and turned again to painting, attempting to find peace, but did not. He was in and out of hospital and eventually moved to an asylum in France, where he created some of his most well-known paintings, including Starry Night. One day in July 1890, Van Gogh went through his usual morning routine of painting. However, for whatever reason, on this particular day, he carried with him a loaded pistol, with which he later shot himself in the chest. His injuries were not immediately fatal, and his brother was sent for, after he had been found in a pool of blood. Van Gogh survived for a couple of days, dying in the arms of his brother on the 29th of July 1890, at just 37 years of age. The majority of what we consider to be the legacy of Van Gogh, his paintings, were created in the latter part of his life. Following his death, much more of his art has been discovered and sold at a very high price, and many of his paintings are some of the most expensive in the world. As Dutch painters go, Vincent van Gogh is considered by many to be second only to Rembrandt. In total, he created over 2,100 works, 860 of which were oil paintings, and over 1,300 were watercolours, sketches and drawings. Although he lived a sad and unfortunate life, Van Gogh has inspired many artists and left us with a beautiful legacy of post-impressionist art that continues to spark the imagination. I hope you enjoyed that episode of 5-Minute Biographies. It was the last of Season 2, but don't worry, I'll be back with Season 3 on the 1st of June, with a look at the life of Marilyn Monroe. In the meantime, I'll continue to publish written biographies for you to read on the 5-Minute Biographies website at www.5minutebiographies.com. If you'd like to comment on any aspect of 5-Minute Biographies, you can find us on Twitter at 5-Minute Bios and on Facebook at 5-Minute Biographies. We're also on Pinterest at 5-Minute Bios. Most importantly though, it would be really great if you could leave me an honest review on iTunes, as it's one of the best ways to help the show to grow. Thanks for listening to Season 2, and I look forward to seeing you with Season 3 on the 1st of June.
Thanks for listening to the 5-Minute Biographies podcast at www.5minutebiographies.com.